Caleb Mars wasn't a man of many words. His days on the dusty plains of New Hope Colony were spent tending hybrid cattle, fixing fences, and sipping quiet coffee while the twin suns crawled across the violet sky. He'd come here for peace, not adventure, and definitely not drama. So when his alien housemaid, Lyra, limped across the barnyard one dawn, his world tilted in ways he didn't expect. She was a Delvani, blue-skinned, silver-haired, with delicate tendrils behind her ears that shimmered when she was nervous. Caleb had hired her 3 months ago after the colony's worker shortage reached his doorstep. She rarely spoke, and when she did, it was soft, like a breeze that barely touched the grass. But that morning, her left leg dragged oddly through the dust, and she tried to hide it under her long linen wrap. Caleb frowned from where he stood by the water trough. "Lyra," he called, voice low and even, "you hurt yourself?" She stiffened, her wide golden eyes darting to him, then to the barn. "No, sir, I'm fine." Her tone was polite, but strained. She bent to lift the bucket, winced, and bit back a hiss of pain. Caleb walked closer, slow enough not to spook her. "That doesn't look fine." I said, she started, but the moment she put weight on her leg, she crumpled. Caleb caught her before she hit the dirt. "Easy," he murmured. "You're not working another second till I see that leg." She struggled weakly in his arms. "Please, no. Sheriff's men, if they see." He frowned. "What do they have to do with your leg?" Lyra's breath came fast. Her tendrils flattened tight against her neck. "They don't like when workers disobey orders. They'll send me back. Please, just let me finish my chores." That made Caleb's jaw clench. He'd heard rumors about the alien sheriff's department, the law enforcement wing run by Delvani overseers who protected alien workers on human ranches. But in truth, they often treated their own kind worse than any human ever could. "Lyra," he said quietly, "sit down. Now." She hesitated, trembling, but something in his tone, steady, gentle, unyielding, made her obey. He rolled up her linen wrap, revealing a deep, purplish bruise along her calf and a thin metal restraint line half buried under her skin. Caleb's gut twisted. "What in the hell is that?" "It's a tracker," she whispered. "Sheriff's orders. They say it helps ensure obedience. If I leave the ranch boundaries or take too long to rest, it burns." He reached toward it, and she flinched. "Don't," she said. "If you tamper with it, they'll know." Caleb looked into her wide, tear-bright eyes and saw not a servant, but a prisoner, and that was something he couldn't abide. That evening, as the sun sank behind the jagged mesas, Caleb sat on his porch, cleaning his rifle. Lyra was resting inside with her leg bandaged. He'd use an old medkit and whisper apologies as he wrapped the wound. He replayed her words again and again. The sheriff's department had no right to brand her like livestock. By nightfall, his decision was made. The next morning, a hover cruiser thundered down his dirt road, sleek black, with silver insignias gleaming on the hood. 3 Delvani officers stepped out. Their long coats swayed in the dry wind, and their reflective visors made them look inhumanly cold. The lead officer, a towering alien with cobalt scales and a voice like cracked stone, spoke first. "Human rancher Caleb Mars, you are harboring an injured worker who has failed to report for medical assessment. Hand her over." Caleb leaned on the fence, chewing a piece of straw. "She's resting. You can come back when she's healed." The officer's lip curled. "You misunderstand. Human. She is property of the sheriff's department. You'll surrender her immediately." Something in Caleb's chest snapped. "Property," he growled. "She's a person. And I don't care whose badge you wear, you're not taking her." The Delvani officer took a step forward, hand on his pulse baton. "Do not interfere." Caleb's voice dropped low. "You step 1 foot past that gate, and you'll find out exactly how well a Terran rifle handles Delvani armor." For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then one of the younger officers raised a scanner. "He's bluffing." Caleb fired. The plasma bolt hit the ground inches from the officer's boot, scorching the dirt. "Try me." The officer froze. The lead Delvani snarled, but finally signaled for retreat. "This isn't over, rancher," he hissed. "You're obstructing official enforcement. You'll regret this." As their cruiser roared away, Caleb exhaled slowly, lowering his rifle. His heart hammered, but his decision was firm. He went inside. Lyra was sitting on the floor, clutching her bandaged leg, fear shimmering in her eyes. "What have you done?" she whispered. "They'll come back with more." Caleb set his rifle down and knelt before her. "Then we'll be ready." "Why?" she asked. "Why risk yourself for me?" He looked at her, truly looked. The delicate patterns on her skin, the quiet strength beneath her fear. "Because nobody deserves chains," he said simply. "Not out here. Not anywhere." Her tendrils quivered softly, a Delvani sign of gratitude and confusion mingled. 2 nights later, the sheriff himself came. They heard the engines before they saw the lights. A dozen cruisers descended on the ranch, surrounding it with glaring beams that lit up the desert. Caleb stood on the porch, rifle in hand, while Lyra watched from inside. The alien sheriff, a tall figure with armor lined in crimson sigils, stepped forward. "Mr. Mars," he said, voice oily smooth, "you've made a serious mistake. That worker belongs to our registry." Caleb didn't blink. "Registry's got no say on my land. She stays." The sheriff chuckled softly. "You humans and your misplaced heroism. She's Delvani. Her kind are bound by treaty to serve. Then that treaty's garbage." The sheriff tilted his head. "Do you really wish to die for her?" Caleb raised his rifle. "If that's what it takes." The sheriff's eyes gleamed. "So be it." But before he could give the order, a bright pulse sounded in the air, a transmission ping. A voice echoed from one of the hovering drones above. "Sheriff Halvar, you are ordered to stand down." The sheriff stiffened. "What is this?" A human marshal's insignia flared on the drone's projection. "This is Central Colonial Oversight. We've intercepted your actions against an unregistered worker. Your department is under review for treaty violations." The sheriff's mandibles clicked angrily. "You dare." "Your trackers are illegal under human rights protocols." The marshal continued coldly. "Step away from the property. Now." For the first time, Caleb saw hesitation in the alien's eyes. The sheriff snarled, turned, and stormed back toward his cruiser. "This isn't over, human," he spat. "You've made enemies today." Caleb's lips twitched faintly. "Get in line." The convoy lifted off, disappearing into the horizon. When silence returned, Lyra limped out onto the porch, her eyes wide in disbelief. "They left." Caleb nodded, lowering his rifle. "Looks that way." "But how?" she asked softly. No one ever stands up to them. He smiled faintly. Guess someone finally did. Lyra stared at him, tears glimmering. You don't know what you've done. You freed me. They'll never be able to track me again. Caleb looked down at her tracker. Its light had gone dark during the transmission. Good, he said. Then you can go wherever you want. Her breath hitched. Go. Yeah, he said quietly. You're free now. Don't have to stay here. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she shook her head slowly. You gave me back my freedom, Caleb Mars. But I'd rather spend it helping the man who believed I deserved it. He met her gaze, steady, glowing with something fierce and warm. Suit yourself, he said, smiling faintly. Plenty of work around here. Lyra smiled back, her tendrils shimmering with color. Weeks later, the story spread across the colony. How a quiet rancher had faced down the alien sheriff's man to protect a single alien maid. How his defiance had sparked an investigation that exposed years of abuse under the sheriff's department. Caleb didn't care much for gossip, but sometimes, when he saw Lyra walking freely in the fields, her limp healed, her laughter soft in the wind, he figured the fuss was worth it. One evening, she brought him a mug of CF brew as he sat watching the sun sink below the horizon. Do you ever regret it? She asked. He took a sip and smiled. Not for a second. The wind rolled to the grass, carrying the scent of rain and freedom.